Welcome to the Mingo and Karen Show, the podcast. We're excited that you've chosen to explore the topic of life with us. All of us are here for a reason, so let's venture on this journey together. I was thinking about my desires, and another thought came up immediately afterwards, right? And so I decided to bring this to the table to see what you at least thought about this. So we desire certain things, right, in life. So I have a really deep desire to fulfill my life's purpose now. It's like it's something I can't get away from. It's in every thought that I have. It's in everything that I do. And I've had the desire for a long time, but the thing that I lacked was the discipline.
Yeah. Okay.
So my question is, what do you think is more important, desire or discipline?
Dun 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 dun.
So for me, I thought the desire to do what I want to do and to live the life that I want to live has never gone anywhere.
Okay.
What I lacked is the discipline to do it. So in other words, I get started, then I stop. Then I get started, I go a little bit further or farther, then I stop. So it's like I realize that I think discipline is more important for me at this time in my life than the desire to have what I want to have, because my discipline is going to take me into the life that I desire to lead. So in other words, I know, if our listeners had heard the other podcast about like my weight loss journey, not even, let's just go beyond that. Now that I'm getting up at 4:30 in the morning and I'm working out and I'm doing better about, food selection. I had already kind of gotten that under control, how I was eating and how I prepare everything and what I'm doing. But I wasn't at a place where I desired to like look a certain way or be a certain thing, but I didn't have the discipline to get up and to do it and to do what I needed to do in order for my desire to become my reality. And so now that has even spilled over into us doing this podcast, right?
Yeah.
And making sure that we're active on social media, making sure that we're more sociable than we've been before. Because like, say if I didn't, it's like, oh, babe, I'm kind of tired. I don't want to go here. I don't kind of want to do that. Now, if this is the life I want to live, I have to be disciplined enough now in the beginning, because once we start to get even busier, it's going to be important that even though that desire is there, I have that discipline in order to make sure that I'm consistent in my own life.
Well, desire, when you start thinking about desire, we naturally desire to do better. Well, we should.
We should.
Everybody doesn't, but we should. We should desire to want more out of our life. Discipline, like when I talk about discipline, I talk about, I always talk about Olympic people who are in the Olympics. They have the greatest level of discipline I've ever seen in my life. You think about it. I don't know exactly how long the Summer Olympics is. I know it's a couple of weeks. But they prepare for 4 years to qualify for a couple of weeks to represent their country.
For sure.
Do you know what type of discipline you have to have from eating? Life is happening. They may have kids, they may get married, they may face tragedy, they may have great successes, but they keep that discipline because they know in the forefront of my mind, I know why I'm doing this.
Right.
And I think that's what people run into a big problem. Like we tell the kids all the time, stay ready so you don't have to get ready.
Right.
That comes into play real big with discipline. I do not claim myself to be a disciplined person.
Okay.
So I'm learning discipline now. And it's a lot harder as an adult man than it probably would have been as a teenage boy. But I know in what I want to do in life, I have to be disciplined. It's like when we work out, I heard you talking about us working out. The exercise I hate the most in the world is push-ups. I do not like push-ups. I don't like the way they make me feel. I don't like the way I just don't like them. But push-ups give you some of the greatest results for your body, especially your upper body and your arms. So I have to do push-ups. So the discipline to say, like you say, you get up at 4:30 in the morning. I ain't gonna lie, I don't get up every 4:30.
Well, you have with me a few times.
I have a few times, and for the most part, if you do it 5 times in a week, I'm gonna be there at least 2 to 3.
Yeah.
But I can't promise all 5.
Yeah.
That's a discipline issue. You gotta call yourself out.
Yeah.
See, the desire, I didn't even have to activate the desire. The desire is, hey, I want to look better. I want to feel better.
Yeah.
So that should be effortless. Now that's not for everybody. But when you know yourself, I think that the desire in you says, I can do more.
My arm up the chair.
And doing more is not always easy. You know, people say more. More can mean a lot of things. For some people, more can mean 2 more, 3 more. For people like us, more means life-changing.
Right.
Game-changing. So I just think when you start talking about desire, discipline, you know, you really got to dig into it, really got to figure out where you're going and just, you know, put one foot in front of the other and take it one day at a time.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that when you dig deep enough in yourself and you have to hold yourself accountable, it's a pretty hard, I'll say for me, I don't know about for anybody else, but that has been something that in most areas of my life I haven't struggled in. But every time it comes to me doing something for myself, I struggle with the discipline of it all. And I don't know why.
Do you think you're worth it?
I didn't before. So like where I am in my life now, you know, this is becoming something that I desire. I desire for me to be a priority in my life. Whereas I don't ever think I thought of that before. I don't ever think I thought of me being at the top of my own list. You know what I'm saying? Like I never, because it just was never a thought. I thought, okay, well, you know, make sure that you're happy, make sure the kids are happy, make sure, you know, my family is happy, make sure that everything that I did was for everything outside of me.
Okay.
So sometimes I struggle with if it's, you know, now please keep in mind, I'm going to always, you know, my hair is going to be done. You know, I'm always look presentable. I try to make sure that I present myself well. But I don't think in the grand scheme of it all, I never thought of it being an internal issue.
Okay.
In terms of like discipline and desire, because until recently, until I learned how to pay attention to myself, it was just something I didn't think about. And I think that's the tragedy of it all, is, you can attest to this about me, is that as long as everybody else is happy, it didn't matter. You know, like I was never the focus of my own life. So even in the things that I desired, it was for an overall purpose. I desired to be a good wife, be a good mom, be a good, you know, real estate agent, be a good daughter, be a good sister, or whatever, right? Be a good auntie, be a good cousin, be a good everything except me. And so I'm having to learn, for me, a discipline and a desire. I've always desired to be a good person, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, that's something that I really strive to do. But I'm just talking about not in how I treat other people. I don't have a desire for how I treat myself.
I was just going to say, what about treating yourself?
Right.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like I never thought of it.
Now that you're thinking about it, now what?
So now that I think about it, I think that's where the thought of discipline showed up. Because I hadn't thought about it before, so there was nothing to be disciplined about in terms of my own life.
So discipline is kind of like the friend that doesn't say much.
Yeah.
They're there when you need them. They're there when you don't need them. But they're always there.
Yeah.
Desire, that's you. You know, that's first person. This is my desire to accomplish this.
Right.
It is my desire to have this. It is my desire to do this. But what we don't realize is when we put that desire out there, we never think of how we're going to get it.
Yeah.
A person told us a long time ago, when the whys are strong enough, the hows will come. And people say, well, what does that mean? It means that if why you're doing something is important enough to you, how you will do it will present itself. But based on what we're talking about today, it's already been kind of like sitting dormant, that desire.
Right.
And it shows up at different moments. Like, say if you want to be a singer and you see somebody on TV perform, that it's not dormant anymore. It kind of flusters a little bit.
Up, yeah.
But then you start thinking logically, and then it's like, but I can't do this because I have this responsibility and I got to pay this bill and I got to pay that bill. So now that's where discipline comes in. So discipline, we can talk about, you know, what it is, what's most important to us. That's going to vary from person to person. We're a couple that's together all the time. We pretty much have a lot of the same goals.
Right.
But based on this conversation, we have to decide on what's most important to us first. So the question we ask is, how do you activate discipline? First of all, nobody likes to be disciplined. I don't care what nobody says. But what Karen always says, kids love discipline. So they don't like to be disciplined, but they like structure.
Right.
Let's say it that way.
Right.
So how do you activate discipline? That's going to be different from person to person. But the foundation of needing it to be done that's going to be just across the board with everybody. So I'll say for me, how do I activate discipline? The first thing I realize is that I need to have a beginning and an end point. So I just can't go and say, I want to do this. But what is the cutoff point? What is the ultimate goal? What am I trying to accomplish, right? So my discipline process is accountability. I said I'm going to do this. Like, let's go back to your example you gave about getting up at 4:30 in the morning. You had to first get the discipline to get up at 4:30 before you ever decided what exercises or whatever program you were going to do.
Right.
You had to get up. So the first couple of times you get up, you roll over, you look kind of crazy. You sit there and you like, why did I get up at 4:30? That's that desire. But then when you actually get out the bed, put on your workout clothes, already be putting in your mind, I'm going to do this type of workout this morning. That's the discipline.
Right.
So when discipline shows up, not the first day that you do it. It's always when you go back and do it again. That's the discipline, in my opinion.
Right. And I know, I think even with that example, my personality type is, I don't know why I'm like this, okay? But sometimes I have to put extreme measures in front of myself in order to accomplish what I want. And so, and it involves me doing it at a time or doing it beyond what's comfortable for me. So in other words, you know this about me. I'm not really the most fantastic morning person, okay? All right.
You're a little rough around the edges,
well,
little sandpaper.
I work on it. You know what I'm saying? Like I try to wake up a little bit better.
Yeah.
I'm alive. So my perspective has changed and evolved over the years. Thank you very much. But what that meant for me was getting up, number one, and just having time for myself.
Yeah. But that goes back to what you was talking about before.
Yeah. Having time for myself and doing something for myself. And so the extreme for me and the is getting up early. That's the thing for me that I'm like, okay, if you're going to do this, don't do it in a time that's comfortable for you. Do it in a time, or do it at a time that you don't like, that is going to challenge the fabric of who you are and how you're made.
Something that breaks up your usual routine.
Breaks up that monotony. Breaks up what I'm used to doing.
Okay.
Because even though I don't consider myself to be a person that's really big into necessarily routines, I get into routines.
Yeah.
I get into a routine behavior. And so if I'm used to waking up at 9 o'clock, or I'm used to, doing whatever, I'm used to getting in kind of in those comfort zones, even though I don't consider myself to be that type of person. But things that I don't like, I tend to put kind of a wall in front of and say, oh no, I'm not doing that. I don't want to do it. I don't want to stretch in certain areas.
That's a powerful statement, stretching.
Yeah. So I'm having to stretch beyond what I like in order to be disciplined enough to get my desire to become real.
But you said something that was real, that kind of was a light bulb moment for me. When you said about the list, and we write down these lists of all these things we want to do, but we ourselves never make our own list. And I've been thinking about that since you said it.
Wow.
I think about all the different things I wanted to do, like when we said, well, when I accomplish this, I'm going to do this, 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 and this. And most of the time it's for other people. Because you feel like you were strong enough to carry the load and make the sacrifice.
Yeah.
You're going through this so the people you love do not have to. But you never think about the list. You know what I'm saying? Putting me on the list. And sometimes we feel that can be selfish. You write this list out of who you want to help first. Mingo Allen Sr. should be the top name.
Right.
Based on our conversation right now.
Right.
So I have to know who I am, and I have to understand what kind of person I am. Now, if I'm a selfish, greedy, narcissistic person, I shouldn't be the first person on the list. I should be way at the bottom.
Absolutely.
Because that power turns into selfishness.
Yeah.
It turns into I'm doing this for me type of thing. And I don't operate like that. You don't operate like that. And I try to surround myself with people who, at least I don't know, operate like that. Because I always feel like you can always help others. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And, you know, back to what I was saying about the people in the Olympics. Just think about your life. Just anybody, whether it's me and you or somebody listening to us right now. Think about your life over a 4-year span.
Ooh. Shoot, sometimes I can't think beyond a 4-hour span, especially when I'm up at 4:30 in the morning.
And I'm not talking about a generalization of your life. I'm talking about, think about what you do day to day for 1 week. Now expand that to a month, to a year, to 4 years.
It's a lot.
They have to be that disciplined to everything that they're doing so that they make sure they can show up for that moment 4 years from now. And of course they do races all over the years, you know, they're qualifying and they're doing different things.
Right.
But they still have to maintain not getting an injury, not losing motivation, just dealing with what life is giving you.
But you just, you making that point made me think about something. And that, I remember I used to always, we would talk to the kids about different things, and you think about, the difference between your heart and your mind, right? And so if you put that into the context of desire and discipline, the desire is in our heart.
That's true.
It goes everywhere because it's there, right?
That's true.
The discipline is in our mind.
That's big. That's big because that helped answer that question. How do you activate it? So you got to know where it comes from.
Yes.
So it's heart and mind.
Yeah. And so in your heart, it's a lot of things that we do from the heart, right?
Yeah.
That sometimes it'll lead you down the wrong road, though.
No good deed goes unpunished.
I mean, I'm just saying. But then there are times when you think about it, and you have reasoned through it, and you have conditioned yourself to understand what it is and where it's coming from and what you need to do. That's where that discipline comes from. So our heart and our mind, even though they work in conjunction and they work together, we've got to know what it's coming from. So to understand that the desire to do something is in our hearts, but the discipline to execute it is in our mind.
When you take that, what you said, so you've expanded this whole conversation. I mean, we went from desire and discipline and understanding which part of us it works with. Then we also understood saying, okay, Karen's personality type is I love to do for others, but in a real live situation, you're depleting yourself and not depositing nothing in you.
Yep.
Because if it's something simple like you want to get your hands and your feet done, but you never do it. But because you want your daughter to have hers done.
Yeah.
And
that's me. I mean, this is real.
Or somebody else's case, it may be their caregiver for their parent. And they neglect themselves, sleep deprivation wise, just giving that extra effort.
Right.
And then it gets to a point where the giver begins to break down.
Woo.
So that's where
I sounded like my granddaddy then. That's funny.
And that's the desire part, because that's your heart giving. Your body physically doing, but your heart is giving. But the discipline of it says, you know what? Let's move this desire to the side for a second, because
I can't do it all.
This is clouding up my thinking.
Yeah.
So let's look at the actual discipline of it. How do I execute this? How can I make this work? And I think that's that gap in between there, when each person sits down as an individual, as a couple, as a young person, as an older person, as a male or a female, it doesn't matter, because all of us have desires, I would think, and everyone needs discipline. That's why we live in a country of rules.
Yeah.
And that's for a reason. When you grow up, you hear them say the rules of the house.
Right.
You have rules in school. You can be a whole grown adult and go back to college, but if you sign up and you're getting a master's degree or a PhD, there are a set of rules on the way you carry yourself on this college campus, the way you carry yourself as a student of this campus, just the way you communicate things you're doing on social media. Social media, as open and free as it is still certain rules.
Absolutely.
You can't get on there and do everything. That requires discipline. And you know why discipline is so hard?
Why?
Do you know the hardest person to tell no?
Woo, yourself, child.
Yourself. Because you have the right to veto yourself. Think about it. You can say, I'm going to get up at 4:30. But that 4:30 feel a little bit too heavy this morning.
Yeah.
And you say, you know what? I'm going to lay down. You as judge, juror, legislator, everybody right then. You made that decision to say, I'm not getting up this morning. So you may say to yourself, here's the backup plan. I'll work out this afternoon.
Oh, I mean, and that's true for even this podcast that we're recording right now, is that this morning I wanted to sleep in, and I knew I wanted to sleep in. And so I knew that, okay, you wanted breakfast this morning, which you don't often want. So it's like, okay, well, we'll do the breakfast thing. And then I know after we finish recording, I'm working out, because the discipline in me says that my desire to fulfill this goal of being where I want to be health wise, I got to have the discipline to do it no matter what. So, okay, it wasn't 4:30 this morning, and newsflash, I don't like working out in the afternoon either. So the discipline, I have to be able to do that. And so, and it's important that I allow my desire to fuel my discipline.
Okay.
What I'm saying is,
so desire is the vehicle, discipline is the fuel.
So the way I look at it is just like we just talked about your heart and your mind, right? See, your heart is going to beat no matter what, right? Your heart is going to beat no matter what. You don't have to tell your heart every second to beat.
Go do his job.
It's going to do its job. That's desire. Desire is going to be there.
Okay.
Discipline is, we just talked about a few minutes ago, it's in your mind, right? So let's look at it this way. We're going to look at desire as a noun.
Okay.
And we're going to look at discipline as a verb.
Requires action.
It requires action.
Okay.
Desire in our heart going to keep beating no matter what.
I got it.
But it's what's going on in our mind that becomes the verb. What we think about ultimately becomes how we act.
Even when we get excited or like we look at something scary, it makes the heart beat faster because the heart was doing its job. The mind told it to do something different.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's a really great point, and how it thinks. So I think we have to look at how do we have to make sure that we're activating that we're taking that discipline and making sure that we put the action with the desire. The discipline is the action. So we have to do more than sit and dream about it.
Yeah. Activation.
You got to do something.
Got to do it.
And I think we didn't know that. Had we known even a year ago what we know now.
Just how to activate.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Can you even imagine?
It's like, I can't put words to it because it's movement.
Yeah.
It's like it goes beyond that internal dream board you talk about. It goes beyond that, and now it's saying, okay, I'm gonna put myself out here, and I'm gonna say I'm an influencer. Then we have to be ready for, well, what make you think you're an influencer? Well, for one, I have something to say. It's simple as that. But the question that needs to be answered is definitely, how do you make what you desire help you achieve your goals?
Yep.
How do you do that? It's not hard. If you want it bad enough, you know that saying,
you had a discipline to get it though.
When you're sick and tired
of being sick and tired,
when you're tired of you pulling up to this corporation that you see doing so well, but you know what your books look like at the end of 2 weeks.
Yes.
When you have put in 80 hours, but your check feel like 2 hours.
Yeah.
It's spent before you get it. When you get a raise and it does not do anything but cover the taxes. It's beautiful because it's adding to your family. Then you get into, well, this doesn't have to be done because I'm going to do something for myself. See, that's when you're saying, and you may not even be living beyond your means.
But can I say something that I think you hit on for, for probably a lot of people? If you think about it this way, you go to work and you have the desire of what it is that you want to do, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you have to have the discipline to make someone else's dream come true. You're paying for someone else's dream because you have the discipline to take yourself to work and work those 80 hours.
So in that
Even though, wait, I was going to say, even though you sitting at the desk,
yeah,
desiring your own grand life that you dreamed about.
yeah.
But you disciplined enough to make somebody else's dream come true. Why can't, while you're sitting there desiring, create a discipline for you to make your own dream come true?
You know, what I was getting ready to say is, think about this. Your job is the desire. It's going to be there. It's going to open and close its doors whether you show up to work or not. The discipline is you.
Yeah.
When you get it working, you do a little bit too much, but your check still look the same, and then you get mad because nobody rewards you for something they didn't ask you to do.
Absolutely.
We all live that, and I'm not knocking jobs because I've had plenty of them.
Yeah.
You've had plenty of them. I'm just saying my discipline is going to make me make my family better, not somebody else's family.
Absolutely.
See, I learned a long time ago. I had a friend tell me this. And he said to me, it was a tough point. Real estate economy was going in. It was crashing and just falling apart all around us. We in it full time. And I went to him for a job. And he took me through the whole interview process. But he didn't come at me as my friend. He came at me as a director.
A professional, yeah.
Interviewing a candidate. At the end of that situation, he said, Mingo. And he even knew my personal stuff.
Yeah.
Because this is our friend.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking I'm a shoe-in. I'm overqualified for this job, and he knows it. But I didn't know that's the thing that was going to work against me. But it didn't work against me. It helped me. He taught me discipline in that moment.
Wow.
Because I sat in front of him. He said, Mingo, you are the perfect candidate for this job. I really want to give it to you, but I can't. My stomach and jaw and everything hit the floor. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Like, I just knew I had it. He said, you know why? I said, why? He said, because you are the type of fella that signs the front of checks and not the back of checks.
Wow. Yeah, I remember. I know exactly who the person is.
And so when I got home to tell you that was like, okay, I get it now. It's starting to make sense. And, you know, here we are today.
Yeah.
Living our dream.
Yes.
Our dream is to communicate to other people.
Yeah.
See, our desire always knew we wanted to talk to people. We talk to people all the time.
Absolutely.
But the discipline of a podcast, the discipline of a social media presence,
yes,
the discipline of signing the front of checks and possibly being responsible for other people's livelihood. That's where I am in my life.
Yeah, and me too. And I can't even. I don't know who needs to hear this right now, but it's somebody out there who has a desire that's burning in them the way our desire is burning within us. I encourage you and I implore you to have the discipline now, even in the midst of your current situation. Have the discipline now to make your desire your reality. You can do this. You got this. Y'all know I'm always trying, Mingo, and I always try to encourage and empower and uplift. But I promise you, y'all, if we can do it, and if we can go through this journey and learn how to understand life, we got y'all. We can do this together. So go out there and figure out how you can turn your desire into what you want through your discipline. You got this.
You got it.
Happy relationship building.
Happy relationship building.
Thank you for listening to our podcast. You can find us on Facebook on our Love is Powerful Stuff page and at Mingo and Karen on Twitter and Instagram. Happy relationship building.